Watkonurado, and welcome to this political update. This will be our final update of 2013. Lots on the agenda, so we'll get right down to it. First, we'll start with a developing story. A self-proclaimed head shop has opened up here in Kahnawake, selling paraphernalia that pertains to the so-called cannabis culture. This has many people upset, some very angry. Chief Carl Horn explains what the MCK is doing about it.
Our main goal and plan was to obviously confirm the location, which was done. We issued a press release to the community. Letters going to be hand delivered to the owner, and obviously the peacekeepers and our local social services were advised of the store, and we're just making sure that community members are aware of it, and we'll see where it goes from there. We're hoping that obviously the public pressure is enough for the owner to reconsider his business plan and do something else.
Tobacco has been in the news, as it has been all year. As you saw in the most recent KTV, a community meeting was held in November, at which time a mandate was given to those present to present to the Kahnawake Legislative Coordinating Commission a proposal to put it into the community decision-making process to create a law that will regulate the industry. Well, since that time, there have been other developments, and Chief Gina Deer gives us this update.
On Thursday, December the 5th, I was in Ottawa before the Standing Committee on Bill C-10, which is a proposed bill that will criminalize people in the tobacco industry. So Kahnawake had presented its position on this bill. During the talks, I was on a panel with Agwazasne, which presented their position. At that time, I had an opportunity to meet with a few of the members of the Standing Committee afterwards, and we're looking at some follow-up meetings.
The second draft of the proposed Kahnawake Justice Act has been posted on the KahnawakeMakingDecisions.com website. This is in preparation for the second hearing on the law, which begins on January 21st, and that happens to be almost 5 years to the day that the law was actually given a community mandate to move forward. That actually happened February of 2009. Justice Portfolio Chief Christine Zachary-Diome emphasizes just how important this piece of legislation is to Kahnawake.
It's a really major piece of legislation, and that's why it's important for people to have a look at it. It's, as I said before, it's a foundational document. All other legislation will rest on that. That's the implementation portion as well for all other legislation, because it's contained within the Justice Act. And that's the kind of a structure that we didn't have before in any of the bylaws that we made earlier on, and then any of the other legislation that we put in place. The implementation was always missing. And this one has had a really good look at, and you've been on that as well, and you know exactly how much work has taken place in order to get us where we are right now. But it's not an easy act, and it's going to take a lot of assistance, and I'm really happy about the people who have participated so far. You know, we're hoping that there'll be bigger turnout, because it's really one of the keystone portions of legislation for Kahnawake.
Canada's controversial First Nations Education Act was the main topic discussed at the December 10th community meeting. That law has been attacked internally here in Kahnawake, at the First Nations Education Council, at the Assembly of First Nations, and very recently at the Iroquois Caucus, which was held in Ottawa. Bobby Patton, one of the council chiefs who holds the education portfolio, gives us this update.
Education was a big issue because it's affecting everybody right across Canada. And since we did our resolution from the MCK, it seems like all the other nations and the Iroquois Caucus, all the communities are looking at us as the model, and they're taking our letter and they're going to start sending more letters to the Harper, you know, opposing this Education Act.
And more from the Iroquois Caucus in Ottawa. Chief Martin LeBorn was there as well. He updates us on another major initiative that we should see coming up in the very near future.
The biggest topic for me there was the free trade agreement, because we brought it there and introduced it, and it's taken off at a fast rate. We're trying to get it just with the 7 Iroquois communities to start a free trade agreement, But the other nations are hearing about it and they want to be part of it before it even gets off. And we're saying, well, we want to do it with us first and then extend that later on.
And just a couple of quick updates before we leave you. First, we'd like to mention that Environment Portfolio Chief Clinton Phillips was at the National Assembly, and he was making another presentation on Enbridge. Enbridge is the pipeline company that is proposing a reversal of the flow of its pipeline that is located between here and actually Montreal and southern Ontario. They're also proposing an increased flow. Beside the concerns, Kahnawake did present its list of recommendations to make things safer. And finally, we'd like to remind the community that the consultations on the proposed law to counter Canada's S2, which is the matrimonial real interest law that comes into effect next year, well, the Kahnawake law is going to be presented and discussed at the community decision-making process. Tuesday, January 7th is the day. So basically, as soon as 2014 comes around, we're right back into action here. That'll be at Garuhianuha. The first draft will be available. And with that, hopefully you are up to date. If we forgot anything, we'll try and make it up to you in 2014.